Everybody, I have your sample test here that I like to go over the answers with. Please make sure that you're following along and correcting your work as you go. So the first question says, which of the following expressions have a value of 12? Circle all that apply. So in letter A, those numbers have opposite signs. So when we're adding numbers with opposite signs, we're going to subtract in our head. 21 minus 9 is 12, and the answer takes the sign of the bigger number. So letter A works. Letter B, 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. That does not work. Letter C, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. That is not positive 12, so we're not going to circle C. Letter D, a negative times a negative is a positive, so that works. Letter E, negative 10 plus 2, we have opposite signs on those numbers, so we would subtract, we would get 8, and it's more specifically in this one, negative 8, so that doesn't work. And in letter F, a negative divided by negative is a positive, and 24 divided by 2 is 12. Number 2, a scuba diver dove 48 feet in 4 minutes. Which integer represents his change in depth for each minute? So in this example, this is going to be division. We're going to divide. We're kind of like finding a unit rate. But because we're diving, 48 is going to be represented by a negative integer. So negative 48 divided by 4 is negative 12 feet per minute. In question 3, it says, which of the following statements are true? Circle all that apply. So this is where a discussion about exponents and parentheses and where the negative number is comes in handy. So in letter A, if you raise the negative 2 to the 4th power with the negative on the inside, we're going to get a positive answer. And in this case, I don't even have to think about it, about what it is. But if I'm in the second half of that, where it has negative 2 raised to the 4th power, remember that's actually read, what's the opposite of 2 to the 4th? Well, 2 to the 4th would be a positive number. And then with that negative sign out in front, we would get a negative. So this side gives me a positive number, and this side gives me a negative number. Positives are bigger than negatives. In option 2, this is the exact opposite of that. So we just said that A works, which means B does not work. They're not going to be equal. Again, letter C has the exact same setup as A and B, and they're not equal. One would be positive and one would be negative. In letter D, negative 2 raised to the 4th power, again, would give us a positive answer. In this case, we will just talk about what it is. 2 times 2 is 4, times the third 2 is 8, and times the fourth 2 is 16. So we get 16 on the left, we would get 16 on the right. Those expressions are equal, not greater than, so letter D does not work. Letter E, you have to be careful here. 2 to the 4th power, again, we just said was 16, and 4 squared is also 16, so those two things are equal. Similarly, in letter F, if we have the opposite of 2 to the 4th, that's going to be negative 16, and the opposite of 4 squared is also negative 16, so those two are equal. So your options, they should have circled are A, E, and F. Number 4, what's the value of the expression? So this is following order of operations. We're going to work on the inside of that parentheses first. Negative 2 plus 5 is positive 3. Then we do multiplication before we do subtraction, and now we're going to add the opposite. So 14 minus 9 is 5, and our answer takes the sign of the bigger number, so we get negative 5. In number 5, that fraction bar kind of works like a grouping symbol, so we're going to go ahead and simplify the top and the bottom. 13 minus 1 is 12. And negative 4 plus negative 2 is negative 6. When we add two negatives, we get more negative. And then don't forget about that adding 3 in the back. So 12 divided by negative 6 is negative 2. And negative 2, whoops, I wrote the answer instead of, I was thinking about the answer already. Negative 2 plus 3 is positive 1. Moving over to number 6. 4 friends went on a trip on a coast. Went to the coast on vacation, wanted to split the trip's cost evenly between them. The house rental cost $400, the cleaning fee was $75, and they ordered pizza the first night for $25. How much should each friend contribute? So what we're going to do is we're going to add those three numbers together. Okay, that's the total cost of the trip for everyone, and then at the end we want to divide that by 4. So 475 plus 25 is 500. I don't really need the parentheses anymore, but 500 divided by 4, because there were 4 friends, is $125. Number 7, we are dividing decimals. What is the value of 5.6? divided by 1.6. So remember, with division, we're trying to figure out how many times does 1.6 go into 5.6. We can't have a decimal on the outside, so we're going to move that one over to the left. We're going to do the right. We're going to do the same thing on the inside. 16 goes into 56. We have to think about this. 16 plus 16 is 32. And if we add 16 again, we get 48. So it's going to be 3 times. So 3 times 16 is 48. We subtract, that's a 4. 16 minus 8 is 8. We want to put a 0 here. We're going to bring down the 0. 16 into 80. How many times does 16 go into 80? Because this is multiple choice, I'm going to show you a little bit of a shortcut in a second. But we just said that 3 16s was 48. So if I add another 16, that is 64. And another 16, there is 80. So it goes in, let's see, this was 3, there's 4, there's 5. It goes in 5 times 3.5, so letter B. Now in this example, we saw kind of early that it was going to be 3 point something. You could go over and look at the multiple choice answers and realize that only letter B was a decimal with 3 as the whole number, so you can kind of rule out the other 3 answers at that point. Paulo had a stack of paper that was 7/10 of an inch tall. He used 2/5 inch of paper to make a flip book. How much paper does he have left? When you hear that, how much does he have left, that is a subtraction problem. So we start with how much he had in total, and we're going to subtract what he used. We need a common denominator. So that's going to be 10. We're going to multiply the bottom and the top by 2. So 7/10 minus 4/10 is 3/10. So he has 3/10 inch of a paper left. Abby bought 3/4 pound bag of peanuts. She ate 1/3 of the bag for a snack. For numbers A through C, circle yes or no. Abby has more than half a bag left. She has exactly half the bag left. Abby has exactly 1/2 pound of peanuts left. So she starts with 3/4 and she eats 1/3. So we're going to take 1/3 away. Let's get a common denominator. We're going to use 12. Oops, multiply by 3. So that's 9/12 minus 4/12. So that's going to give us 5/12. Well, we can see that in letter C, that's going to be a no. Okay. Okay, I wondered why this wasn't working out. Scratch this. I wasn't reading it correctly. I thought it said she ate 1/3 of a pound. What it says is she ate 1/3 of the bag. So when you're eating 1/3 of something, that's actually multiplication. Sorry about that. So we're going to multiply 1/3 times 3/4. So when we multiply, we can cross cancel. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. So she ate 1/4 of a pound. So it says Abby has more than half of the bag left. Abby has exactly half of the bag left. Abby has exactly 1/2 pound of peanuts left. So if you eat 1/4 from 3/4, right? Again, this number represents how much she ate, how many pounds she ate. You can see she's going to have 1/2 of a pound left. So option C is yes. Then we have to figure out, does she have more or less than half of the bag? Well, 3/4, if we split it into fourths, there's 3 of them. She only ate 1/3 of the bag. So she's going to have, because 1/3 is less than half, she's going to have more than half of the bag still left because she only ate 1/3 of it. She would have had eaten half of it to have half of the bag left. So we're more than that, and then we're not less than that, or we're not exactly that. Number 10, Jenna bought 6 cans of lemonade that were 10.6 ounces each. How many ounces of lemonade did Jenna buy? So this is division. excuse me, this is multiplication. 10.6 times 6. Remember, when you're multiplying decimals, we just line the digits up on the right-hand side. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 0 plus 3, 6 times 1. No, I don't have to do another row. We want to go in one decimal place, so she has 63.6 ounces. Jerry had 7.5 pounds of oranges. He wanted to divide evenly between his 3 friends. How many pounds of oranges will each friend receive? So there's division here. It even says the word divide. So we're going to take 7.5 and divide it by 3. So that's 15 over 2. We're going to keep, change, and flip at once. 3 goes into 15 5 times, so we get 5 over 2. We change this to a mixed number because you can see the improper fraction answer is not there. The answer is 2.5. 5 people ate dried fruit. A serving of dried fruit weighs 0.8 ounces. Which of the following people ate more than 1.3 ounces of dried fruit? So this is multiplication. This problem's a little bit tedious. We can rule some people out once we hear some other answers, but this is how many servings each person ate. A serving, again, is 0.8 ounces, so we're going to take 1.5 times 0.8. That's going to be Matt. Let's see, 5 times 8 is 40. 8 plus 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12, and we don't have to go that way, so we're going to go 2 in. So Matt ate 1.2 ounces. The question is, which of the following people ate more than that? More than 1.3 ounces. Well, he did not. He only ate 1.2 ounces. This one says Zach ate 1.3 servings. Well, that's less than what Matt ate. So if Matt didn't eat that much, then Zach also did not eat that much. It says Keelan ate 2 servings. So if we take, now we have to check because that's more than what Matt ate. We're going to take 2 times 0.8. I'll put the 0.8 on top just because there's that extra digit there. That's 1, 6, that's 0, and 1, 1 decimal place in. So he ate 1.6 ounces. So that is more than 1.3. We're going to check Amy, 1.8 times 0.8. I'm going to go 2 places in. She ate 1.44 ounces, so that works. And we're not sure on Chandra because she ate a little bit more than Matt, a little bit less than these two. We're not really sure where hers falls, so we do need to check hers as well. That's 48. That's 2 decimal places in. She only ate 1.28 ounces. So hers does not work. Again, so we had to check. We're multiplying the number of ounces in a serving times the number of servings they ate, and then comparing that to the number 1.3. Okay, finding products and quotients. We're multiplying or dividing. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. Number 1, the answer is -4. Number 2, the answer is 26. Number 3, the answer is -3. Number 4, the answer is -28. Number 5, we can do this a couple of different ways. You could stack it up like a fraction, 25 over 10. They're both divisible by 5. That gives us 5 over 2. But because it's a negative over a negative, we do get a positive. You could write 2 1/2. If you did long division, you would get 2.5. But please make sure you have a positive answer there. Number 6, 4 times -5. This is -20, and I'm going to multiply that by -3. That's going to give me a positive 60. Number 7, I'm going to change this to an improper fraction. That's 7/4 times -2/5. I can cross cancel here with the 4 and the 2. A positive times a negative is a negative, so we get -7/10. This one's division. So notice division and multiplication are kind of all mixed up. I'm going to keep, change, flip here. So 14/5 times -1/2. I can cross cancel here. Positive times a negative again is a negative, so -7/5 or -1 2/5. Number 5, also division. So keep, change, flip, don't lose your signs. Cannot cross cancel anywhere here, so we're just going to multiply across the top and the bottom. That's -50/9 or -5 5/9. Number 10, we want to stack these up. I'm going to put the 1.75 first and then the 3.5 underneath. Again, the one with more digits should be on top, but notice I'm not lining up the decimals. Remember, we're lining up the number on the right-hand side. 5 times 5 is 25, 35, 36, 37, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need a 0 here for a placeholder. 3 times 5 is 15. There's 21 and 22. 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5, and now I'm going to add. I have 3 decimals in the problem, so I need 3 decimal places in my answer. A negative times a negative is a positive, 6.125. On number 11, you could do long division. Some of you recognize, though, that 0.5 is 1/2 in a fraction. I think it's a little bit faster to do keep, change, flip. -6 times 2, that's -12/1, or just -12. Number 12, we could, we've got 3 numbers here we need to multiply. First, let's talk about the sign. So we have 2 positives and 1 negative. Our answer is going to be negative, and it's up to you how you want to multiply. But 0.25 is 1/4. Now we're multiplying that times the -2. 4.5 is 4.5. If I change that to a fraction, that's 9/2. For some students, they'd prefer to have this in fraction. It's a little bit easier. And we can cross cancel. This is kind of cool. You can cross cancel really anywhere you want, but I'll just go ahead and cancel out those 2's. So on the top, I have 1 times 1 times 9. And again, remember we said our answer was going to be a negative. On the bottom, I have 4 times 1 times 1. So that's 4 -9/4. If you multiplied it out using like longhand multiplication with the decimals, the decimal answer is -2.25. Okay, a few more. The temperature of a cup of coffee changes -0.8 degrees for every minute it sits on the counter. So because the temperature is negative, that means it's going down, which makes sense. If the overall temperature change of the coffee is -4.8 degrees, how many minutes has it been sitting on the counter? So how many times does 0.8 go into 4.8? Again, we can't have a decimal outside, so we're going to move that here. 8 doesn't go into 4, but it goes into 48 evenly 6 times. So 6 minutes. Don't forget to label your answers. Rhonda wrote 3 checks for $12.50 each. What integer represents the change in Rhonda's bank account after writing the checks? Well, when we write a check, it's taking money out of our bank account, and we're talking about integers representing the change. So she's losing money. We know our answer is going to be negative, but we need to take $12.50 times 3, and we get $37.50. But because it's coming out of her bank account, that is a negative change. So the answer is -$37.50. Nye's dog eats about 1 3/4 cups of dog food per day. If Nye has 12 1/3 cups of dog food left, about how many days can Nye feed his dog before having to buy more? So we're going to take that total, and we're going to divide 1 3/4 into that. So let's make improper fractions. That's 37/3 divided by 7/4. And now we need to do keep, change, flip. This one's kind of ugly. Can't cross cancel anywhere. I don't know what 37 times 4 is. 148. So 148 over 7 is how many days he can feed his dog. That's kind of a weird way to write that answer, right? I would accept that. It is improper. It is reduced, though. 7 does not go evenly into 148, I don't think, too. No, it does not. If you wanted to kind of estimate, oh, sorry, not 7, 21. There we go. Let's see, 3 does not go into 148. Does 21, 7? No, actually, I still think this is reduced. We could start trying to figure out about how many days that is, because it says about how many. So let's see, 21 plus 21 is 42, plus another 21 is 63, plus another 21, that's 84, plus another 21, that's 105. We're getting closer. 126. Oh, here we go. I think this is the last one. That's 147. Okay, so that's really close. It is about 7 days. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21. So again, it's about 7 days. Again, I would accept this answer because that is reduced. 16. Joshua started collecting state quarters after 1 year. He determined that his collection had a value of $9.25. How many state quarters does he have? This can be done a lot of different ways. Excuse me. We're looking to see how many times 0.25 goes into 9.25, or we can think about it like this. There are 4 quarters in a dollar, so 9 times 4 is 36. And then there's the 1 extra quarter left over from the 0.25, so he has 37 quarters. And you can just use your number sense there. Jackie liked to go bowling. 1/5 of her rolls were strikes. If she rolled 30 balls, how many were strikes? So we're going to find out how much 1/5 of 30 is. So this is multiplication. Whoops. We can cross cancel here. 30 is divisible by 5 6 times. We get 6 over 1, or 6 strikes. Okay, hopefully you did okay on that. I do want you to know that this sample test is actually identical to the one that we give to pre-algebra. Some of the questions on here are pretty tricky, but as you're working through your test is a little bit easier than this sample test. There aren't quite as many ugly questions like we were given here. But please make sure that you study this over the weekend. We are testing on Monday, and I should be back by then. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me through email, and I'll see you soon.